Welcome back, guys. Today I've got one quick video for you. Just going to do one simple install that I think makes these cars look so much better. If you notice from the side profile, got no color. These little things right here, these LED side markers, I'm going to show you how to change those out. So we can turn this factory reflector, basically has one LED light in it. All these things do, one LED light, all they do into a full string of LED. Now some people, they would tint this just to get the color, but then at night it just looks terrible with that one LED. So we're gonna turn this into this. It just makes the car look so much better.
If I give you my word, that's what I stand on. Loyalty and trust is what I stand on. Family and love is what I stand on. Talking big, big. I knew that one day that I could make it big, big. I'm talking how to stay smoking without a sense.
Right, so there's a couple ways you can do this when you're doing these LED side markers. So, you know, on a lot of the Scat Packs and RTs, and especially the Hellcats, you don't have a lot of, you know, space between there. So you've got to take off these wheel well pins. So one way you could do it is just by turning the wheel all the way one way to the right and all the way to the left. So let me show you real quick what that is. Okay, so just like that, you can turn your wheel all the way to the right, and it kind of gives you enough space in here to get in here, and you can kind of pop all these off and get behind it. There's two T25 screws that you got on the back of those that you have to get at, and you know, this is okay. Some people have done it. What ends up happening is you end up having to bend this wheel lining and kind of deform it a little bit. It seems to kind of stay bowed out if you do that. So in my opinion, the best way to do is to jack up the car, take off the wheels, put them back on. So that's how we're gonna do it. But just know, if you wanna do it this way, the cheater way, you can do it. You're just gonna frustrate yourself a little bit more and spend a little bit more time messing with that, trying to peel it back. Okay, so if you ask me, these, you know, this is a nice reflector, Mopar reflector, it's great. But did you really want orange on the front of your car? Especially if it's a color like this, if it's a blue, you know, you got this big old piece of orange on there. Not to mention at night, this just doesn't light up. You've got one LED light in there, so when they tell you on your factory spec sheet, they're like, yeah, they're LED side markers. Well, yes, one LED and mostly reflector. They're trying to have that one LED be the thing to light up the whole thing. And then you just look at this, these aftermarket ones, so much different. I don't know if you can see into there, but obviously you got tons of little LEDs just running the whole length, just giving you a much better look on the front and the back. So to me, this is one of the easiest, cheapest ways to enhance the look of your car, just right from the get-go. One thing, you know, I usually just go with the cheap sets. These are just from Amazon. Sometimes they fail, you know, after a year or so, but the Diode Dynamics version, you know, you can go on Diode Dynamics and get the pair for like $200. These pairs that I bought are 50 bucks. So, you know, under $50 on Amazon. So you can literally replace them 4 times in the price of, you know, of the higher quality product. So it's just up to you what you want to do. For me, it's like 40 bucks or 200 bucks. I'm going to go with the 40 bucks, even if I have to replace it twice over 3 or 4 or 5 years. You know, you may not even have the car that long. So that's what I'm gonna do. So let me show you where we're gonna do that. Okay, some of the items you're gonna need to do this, obviously if you've never taken the wheels off before, you're gonna need a 22 millimeter socket. That's the factory lug nut size on our chargers. So a lot of people will have these, some old tools, like you'll have the cross dill with that, and then you'll have a jack like that. Well, the cross thing doesn't have a 22 on it. It's usually like 17, 18, 19, and 21. Our cars are 22, so you're gonna have to have a 22 millimeter socket to get the lug nuts off, unless you have aftermarket wheels with different lug nuts on them. Then you'll need whatever that spec is. A torque wrench to re-torque the wheels. Pretty sure on the Scat Packs we're looking at, I think it's 110, 111, something like that is what the torque specs are if you've got the Brembo 2 double rotor brakes, or Hellcats have the same. So you're torquing it to about 110 on the wheel lug nuts. And then just a little stubby kit. So because that space is so small, even if you rip off the whole thing, you know, you're gonna wanna get behind that and there's not a lot of space back there. So I found something like this helps it out really well. And this particular kit actually has a Torx 25, because that's what you'll need, is a Torx 25 bit. So stubby set, Torx 25, the 22 millimeter socket with extension, torque wrench, and then obviously on the jack stands and a jack. If you haven't jacked up your Scat Pack before, it's pretty low profile. So those normal jacks, like I was just showing you, the old one that I have doesn't fit under this car very well. So you got to get one of these low profile ones. So if you don't have a buddy that has that, you know, try to find a buddy or start investing. You know, you're talking like $150 for that jack, so it's kind of expensive. But if you're driving one of these cars, a Scat Pack or a Hellcat or whatever, you're going to want to invest in it. So let's get going. Oh, and one more thing, the wheel chocks. So whenever you're jacking up your car, obviously make sure it's on a flat surface, but have something to chock the wheels. It's not as important on our, you know, the rear wheel drive cars, but if once you get to this side and you're jacking it up that way, you don't want the car to roll forward once you have it on jack stand. So some wheel chocks to, you know, rotate that once you get the car jacked up so it doesn't roll away from you. All right, just a couple quick notes for those of you guys who have never taken a tire off or, you know, done this. I know there might be a couple. So basically loosen the nuts before you jack the wheel up. You know, when it's on the ground, loosen all the nuts, just get them untorqued a bit, and then when you jack it up, they'll come off easier. The second thing is, when you're jacking these cars, especially like the Scat Packs, there's limited spaces where you can jack it. So I don't know if you can see that, but like I usually try to go right into this world right here. There's a pinch weld thing. These don't work very good, especially on the wide bodies. So I usually just try to reach under, make sure the pad of my jack is hitting this cross brace right there. And then it leaves space over here for your jack to your jack stand. And the way to do that is obviously to have your jack on an angle like this. So, you know, so when you're jacking it up, it actually gives you space to put your jack stand under there. Okay, so I got the tire off on this side, and just to show you some of these clips that you're gonna have to get off. So there's different tools you can get. There's kind of these cheaper plastic sets you can get for probably $5-10. There's a couple of these metal ones, a couple dollars more, and then there's one like this. It's probably like $10. This lets you get under it and just kind of pull it off for different ones. For this particular application, you're probably better using something like this with the screwdriver. You just kind of get off of these. You basically got to pop the middle part of the clip off, and once you raise the middle part out, the rest of it will pull right out. So once you get that middle section out, now you can start wiggling that whole thing out just like that. So I don't know if you can see those, but that's basically what they are. Got to take that middle, pry that middle part out, and so you just got a bunch of those. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 of those to take off to really get good access. And you could go even further and start taking off more up here. There's some up there, you know, depending on how much access you want behind there. So okay, got some more light. Sorry, you guys can see. So I got those 5 clips off, and basically you're just kind of popping this out. This little piece sits behind the bumper, so once you pop that out, that kind of gives you enough space to work with down here. So I think just these 5 is okay, but you can take off a bunch more if you want. Just depends on how much room you want to work with. But basically, just like that, we can bend this back. Now we can gain access to this. So we can undo the little clip here, and then these are the Torx 25. You guys can see those. Oops, right. There's one right there at the top, and right there at the bottom. So that's what I was telling you. If you had something stubby to get in here, the longer screwdrivers makes it a little bit harder. But let's get those 2 bolts out and unclip this clip. Okay, so if you take off those 2 Torx 25 screws first, this will basically fall forward, and then it'll give you access to the little clip. This is one of those little spring-loaded clips. Well, it's just plastic, but you got to squeeze the bottom right there to pop it off. But what I found is easier just to get under the little thing with the small screwdriver there, and then that could pop it off, you know, quite a bit easier. So hard to do it with one hand, but basically once you get that little clip off, you know, that'll pop off. So okay, so here's the difference. Here's the factory light one. See how it has that one light at the top? Plus it's orange all over the place. So there's your old one, and then look, the back's already done. Here's your new one. So just quite a bit difference in look and quality as far as the light output. You know, you're driving around at night, this one little marker light just kind of looks stupid on our cars, to be honest with you. I think that one LED light, and it tries to glow up that reflector a little bit. I just think it looks terrible, so much better swapping these out. Okay, now here's an after effect in the dark. Now see how much brighter and nicer that looks. Just makes our cars look so much better. So especially when you got, you know, both of them and you only see the colors when your car's lights are on at night. So okay, something I found after installing these over the years on multiple chargers is these come basically raw plastic. So these screws are kind of designed to create new channels into the plastic. So the best thing to do is, while you have the new ones out before you install them, is to kind of pre-drill these screw holes as straight as you can, you know, get them started, and then pre-screw these all the way in and all the way out. That makes installing these on the car that much easier. You know, the first time I did these, I basically didn't do that, and I was trying to thread these and get these screws to create new, you know, grooves in the plastic from behind the bumper, and that was just a mess. So pre-screw these, always test them before you put everything back together. Obviously we tested that, you saw how nice these look. Okay, so now we got these screws pre-threaded, or the part pre-threaded with the factory screws. So now that that's done, I'm just gonna take these screws out, install it, and it'll be much easier to do it. If you don't pre-thread these screws, you're gonna be fighting with them forever. So make sure you pre-thread the screws. Just makes putting these in so much easier. Okay, so we got this all put back together. Just make sure that piece gets tucked under the bumper there. Just bend that back in. This sits right in a little groove. If you took off the same 5 that I did, then you've got 4 that look like this. They've got more of a, oh, you can see that they've got more of a square tip to them, and then this one has more of a rounded one at the bottom here. Whoops. And so the rounded one goes in the bottom. It kind of, even after you push it in, it still looks like it's, you know, sticking out a little bit. So, and then the other 4 go up in the side, and then we're good to go. You can start putting the wheel off. I mean, while you have your wheels off, if you want to check your brakes, I had already replaced the Zeo power stop brakes on here, the pads. So I checked everything, it's good, pads are good. But if you want to clean or check anything while you're in here, and then obviously clean your rims, this is a great time to do it while they're off. But we'll get it put back together. Okay, now that that's all put back together, I basically just threw the wheels back on and loosely tighten those, you know, tight, but we're gonna torque it after we get it down on the ground. So drop the car, torque your tires, and you're good to go. Okay, so if you never put a tire back on, you gotta make sure you torque your lugs correctly. You basically wanna go in a star pattern. So once you get it on the ground, your wheels on there, you're gonna go, you know, straight across from the one, tighten this down, straight across, tighten, straight across and down, and then just repeat in that pattern. So if you go in that pattern, that'll make sure your wheel doesn't fall off. So for our particular cars, the torque is about 110, 111. So you're gonna need a torque wrench, some sort of torque wrench, set it to 110, 111. If you have a Scat Pack or Hellcat with the dual rotors on it. I think the specs are a little tighter if you've got an RT or a V6 version of the Chargers or Challengers. I think you're looking at 130 on the torque, but you want to look up your specific torque and then make sure you do it in that star pattern, and you'll be good to go. Grab my buddy Steve. He's got a Hellcat of the same color. Look what he's got. He's got the factory. Yeah, that's fine. This is good right here? Yeah, that's fine. But he's got the factory stock ones on, so I just wanted to see a comparison. Alright, so Mr. Steve here, he's still got the factory versions on. So as you can see, like I was telling you, you got one LED light here, and it just doesn't really fill up the reflector. You know, it's probably a cost-saving thing that they do on it. So it is an LED light, but it's just one LED light. And then you look what we just got done installing here. You got full LEDs from top to bottom. They're smoked out.
Nice.
Just looks nice. So in my opinion, this just looks so much better, just having the full LEDs.
You got me sold.
Steve's sold now. All right, so really get this video 100 likes and we'll install Steve some of his own. So there's no way he should have a Hellcat like this with those factory ones on it. So he's got to look better here. So we got to get Steve looking better. So, but let me know. I think this is how they should have came. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Get 100 likes so we can get Steve some for his. If you give me some likes, we'll buy some for Steve and install them on his ride. So. Okay, well that's gonna be it for that one. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know. Drop a comment if you got value out of this. Please share it with somebody you think might enjoy it, and we'll see you in the next one.
If I give you my word, that's what I stand on. Loyalty and trust is what I stand on. Family and love is what I stand on. If it's love, I got it tatted. Father, I'm not absent. I was working smarter back when they was working backwards. Do it for the gram, you only do it for a caption. Dropping back to back, but really I've been relaxing. I might go for months, I could go for years. If I take a break, I promise I'll be relapsing. Started from the